Thank you. I wasn't prepared to go on video, but just in a moment, I sure will.
Thank you so much. Welcome, Jennifer. Jennifer Price, welcome. Happy to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Sunshine Lumbre, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'll be video ready very shortly.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, well, we are going to get underway. Welcome everyone to the November issue of Literacy Through Poetry. We're excited. We have wonderful poetry lined up. We have a fabulous featured poet and workshop facilitator that is none other than the incomparable Neville Adams. And he is well known throughout Prince George's County at the very least, but I dare say beyond, because of his travels with the young poets that he's done so much to educate and inspire and motivate. But let me not get ahead of myself. First and foremost, welcome. There are just a few little issues we want to make sure everyone is aware of. I'm your host, Sister Joy. I'm the Prince George's County Poet Laureate. And we have with us today, facilitating on the tech side, our IT guru, Joshua Reynolds. And Joshua ensures that our technology works seamlessly. And I want to make sure, Joshua, are there any housekeeping rules or notes that you want to share with our guests?
All is in order.
All is in order. Okay. Well, so long as we have guests to activate their camera so we know who it is that we're talking with and sharing with and hearing from, because of course this is interactive. It doesn't work if we don't hear from you. So very much looking forward to this. Now, for persons who want to participate in the second half, also for the open mic, please note that in your chat that you want to participate in the open mic. I think really we'll probably just do a roll call and ask at that time because it's the second hour when we go into the open mic. But if you can put in the chat that you do plan to participate in the open mic, that's great as well. Let's see, how about with regard to if there are any guests that I have not spoken to just yet, please forgive me, but welcome everybody to this next to the last session of Literacy Through Poetry, where we engage the community in works that both enhance and provide opportunities to craft poetry on the spot. So we're talking about literacy by writing and reading poetry, and also we'll have the opportunity to share some of your original works, perhaps that you crafted before the workshop began, but also some of the pieces that you are going to create today. All of it can be shared either through this workshop component or the open mic later. So let's see now. Neville Adams, our featured poet and workshop facilitator. Let me find a little bit of information that I want to share with you so that you can know a little bit about who it is that will be guiding us for our workshop component. Now, Neville is an activist, an educator, poet, and a youth leadership development strategist who founded the nonprofit arts and entertainment organization Lyrical Storm, which is based right here in Prince George's County. Now, as a Prince George's County public schools teacher, he has created programs that have given voice to teens for over 25 years. I know he doesn't look the age, he wears it well. An award-winning teacher and poet, Neville Adams galvanizes students to serve as youth activists and champion humanity through via the spoken word. He brings life lessons and global theory to his poetry, fiction writing and essays, As an activist, educator, poet, moderator, and narrator, he is one who stands firm on his beliefs. And having known this young man for quite a few years, stands firm on his beliefs is a good phrase to identify Neville Adams. I thank you for being with us, Neville. I look forward to what you bring to today's workshop. And could you perhaps, by way of introducing yourself to the group, begin with, after saying a few words of opening, maybe share a short poem to kick things off.
Okay, thank you for having me. Like what was said, I do a lot of work, a lot of community work. I do a lot of work with youth leadership development, and I am a spoken word poet. But the majority of the time, I'm behind the scenes, propping up youth and pushing them into empowering themselves so that they go out and speak for themselves and speak for others. I know it's kind of like a lifelong mission for me to be an advocate for people. I've always been that way, since I was since I was a youth. My mother was an educator. She was an activist. She was like the ANC commissioner, and she was always going around doing something, helping people, always going around, always taking us to places, taking us to the polls all the time. We were always campaigning for something. And so it went into, like, when I was in school, how I was always the student government president and things like that. So I just kept doing it. And I just didn't know why I did it, but there's just something in me that just that yearns for equality for people. So with that being said, I'll share a quick piece, and then we can go right into the workshop. And I'm getting used to, I'm on Zoom every day because I'm a teacher. So I'm always doing this, but I'm getting used to reading poetry sitting down, which is not my thing because I move around a lot. So, and yeah, she knows, Sister Joy definitely knows that I move around a lot. So here goes. I'll give you a little something, a little intro thing. Many are called, but I have been chosen. Unlike a tame horse, I refuse to be broken. I refuse to be a victim in this decadent society with this dangerous mind. I'll fracture your reality. Grab hold of your thoughts before you can spit it. If it's a crime to murder ignorance, many felonies I've committed. And like a phoenix, I have arisen from the ashes, born from the hearts of revolution and product of urban clashes. He wore a Burberry tie with a toothless grin, couldn't truly show the real shape he was in. J.Crew blouse during the day, in the evening, red stilettos. Things they both thought they had to do for a chance to depart that ghetto. Work one job, leave and go to another institution. No time for life, no time to create a solution. Keep us occupied, knowing you can't plan revolution. It's no way to evolve, yet an eerie evolution. For they dream the dream the American way. Work hard, be a team player, the spoils you receive. Who you know, how you go, where you dress, what you say. It's the mantra of millions, battle cry they believe till they find out their existence had been a charade. And no matter the manner of changes were made, they were networking with blue bloods, common views left in shade, found themselves living hopeless like modern day slaves, smiling, shuffle your life like a stack of marked cards. Progress left stagnant, dreams scattered in shards. For movement, they hoped would be swift and yes, lateral. So they rented their souls. It was used for collateral. And movement, they must live life truly like cattle. Run with the herd, swim with the tide, travel with the pack, keep moving forward without moving back. Heading for cliffs with blinders, can't see the disasters ahead, the reality of dreams in falsetto. The ideology that assimilation leaves one out of a ghetto. An epidemic of worldwide proportion, young minds living in real-time distortion like a nation that kills but condemns abortion. But movement is more than a word or a notion. For the poisons in the blood and the movements, the potion, it's the antidote for a curse passed through generations. It's the call to arms needed to cure the ills of a nation. It's the change to initiate a blank mind's elevation. We must save those who seek the keys of salvation. Compromise not what we believe, for what we say is what is meant. Those who want to fight for freedom must do more than merely vent. Edutainment for the movement so the masses understand. Movement poets, grab your mic. Let the world hear your plans. Let the earth hear your cries. For justice not given, It's justice due. No longer living dormant, at least to thine own self be true. A testimony, a truth to power is what we must speak. It's a sound blast for the downtrodden, for the broken, the weak. It's a poem for our forefathers whose messages were left unheeded. The soldiers who fight this war must find that balance that's needed. We must nourish that soil because it took too long to seed it. Negative energy, we must weed it. It is the only way that you and I, that we can defeat it. Peace. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Neville
All right.
Adams,
Okay.
you got the mic. I'm going to sit back and grab my water and check you out.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. So I guess the technique that I wanted to deal with today is personification and getting you all bringing words to life. I like working with words and images. I love images and taking those images and turning them into something. And as with myself, I try to use new techniques to try to come outside of a box. I don't want to be stuck into a box when it comes to my writing. And I do it with my students all the time. I always try to push them to not limit themselves and then go beyond what they want to do. And as with me, my subject is generally, I normally deal with a lot of sort of political, geopolitical issues. And I tried to do this poem that I'm gonna, I'll go through a little bit. I call myself doing a love poem. So when I start writing it, I'm gonna do this, the exercise that we're gonna do. I started writing it the same way that you're gonna start this exercise. And then at the end, I'll show you what happened to my love poem because, I found out that I could really be a lover. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna do two things. One thing I'm gonna send in the chat, I'm sending a link. That goes to a Jamboard. There you go, I just sent that. Hopefully everybody can see that. And that will send you to a Jamboard. I'll share the screen so that we can look at that Jamboard. That should take you to a screen that looks like, not that one, to this one. And at the end, I'll also send a link so that you all can have the toolkit. Everything that we've had today, you can have that with you. And with this, I see somebody, Anonymous Liger joining. All right, okay. So I see, you see we're on slide 1 with the Jamboard. And how this works is the only thing that we're gonna be doing with the Jamboard is using the sticky note tool. So if you click over, if you see where I am right there with my little hand flowing around, you click on that sticky note and you can write a sticky note. And you could use any color. If you want to use pink, if you want to use blue, you can use any color you want. And what we're going to do is with the first slide, let's see, and you can move it around, stuff like that. You're going to look at that slide. There are a couple of different, let me get that out the way. There are a couple of different images. Because I love to work from visuals and then move it into, I like going from non-print text to turning it into print text. So you have image number A, which is a tree. Image number B, or is it number, letter B, which is, as you can see, a tiger out in the jungle. And I'm not going to say too many words. I'll just give basics. C, because I want you to do what you do. C is a dumpster out behind a restaurant, I think. And then D, I don't know why D isn't showing up like that, but D is a car accident. It'll probably show up in the other ones. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a minute or so to pick whichever image you like, and use your sticky note and write some observations, just some things that you see. All right. And you can, we'll begin now. And as with any exercise, whenever I start, I don't want you pigeonholed into trying to to fully describe the images or anything like that. Description can be in it, but even if you just have words, what comes to mind when you're looking at that image, just put those words down there. And then you'll take your sticky note and put whatever it is you're putting it, and put it under the image, as close to the image as possible. Like if you have multiple images, that's fine. You could put it around there. It doesn't matter. And let me look at, I'm doing mine too.
Neville, how much time will we use on this?
Okay, we're almost done now.
Okay, not a problem, just asking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just writing mine in a notebook.
Oh, okay. All right, so let's see some of the things that we have. This one over here to the left. Okay, if you wrote that one, you want to share what you found. This is the first one that says roots, begins with roots.
Oh, that was me, Pablo.
Okay, Pablo. Hey, how you doing, Pablo?
Great.
All right.
I just, yeah, I look at it and I get a feeling of, you know, a tree, especially this, it looks like an old tree, it's old growth. And I just get a feeling of how it started small, became big, and sort of created life out of its own life, you know, for other animals, and how it's connected to the earth, but also connected to the environment and the air and everything. And so that's why I have roots and branches and growth and life. And then also trees live so long, they see so much change. They have knowledge and experience. It's almost like I didn't write it in, but it almost like a motherly in a way, you know, nurturing. Those are trees are. And that's why I also put connectedness.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, cool.
Good. Yeah. I love this. One thing I love about this exercise is that the things that come out, you know, from the discussion, are things that a lot of them, some of the things are things that I didn't visualize or I didn't see, and then it opens up my awareness to another aspect of it, which is nice. I like that. The next one I see, low slung arms. Who's that? Okay, Miss Jennifer. Hey, how are you? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you want to tell us, you can unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, I thought I was unmuted.
Hey,
Hi.
I know, I do that all the time.
Yes, I think, well, a tree is just such a, you know, such a metaphor for everything, for so many things. So I think it's hard to see a tree without really without a poem just kind of
Mm-hmm.
popping right
Mm-hmm.
in, you know.
Oh yeah.
So I think for me, I sort of got into that a little bit more, not just words, but maybe just a little bit of verse, with how I was describing it. Low slung arms like tentacles, still and alive, ancient and temporary, breaking up the light, a testament without a voice. Just
Beautiful.
the ideas that a tree embodies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay, the
Thank you.
next one. The trees are as pretty. Okay, who did that one? Okay. Hey, Miss Kiana, the artist. Let's see what you had there. Pretty and nice. And that tiger is looking for prey.
Yeah, that's why I seen in that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mostly like in life, your how you call it, you have like your goals and dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and you're looking to what you can find for yourself. So like when you're walking by faith, um, you're walking, but at the same time, you don't see it because you're walking by faith. So
Okay.
that's what made me see the tiger, you know, in his prey. So
Okay. All right. All right. I like the way and once you said that, I was thinking about the eyes because although looking at the picture, I can't see the eyes already. I can feel the eyes though. I can't see them, but I can always feel a tiger's eyes. It's like the
yeah.
same with my cats.
Mm-hmm.
I put down fearless, never striking the same way because I remember a movie when I was a kid how this tiger was coming into this village and he kept coming back differently and that's what that way they couldn't get him because he was always coming back a different way.
Come back a different way. Mm-hmm.
Magnificent, and then I thought about the poem Tiger Tiger Burning Bright in the Shadows of the Night.
Nice.
Okay, and someone had Crouching Beauty. Who had that?
That's me again, Pablo.
Okay.
I kind of ran out of time, but I see the body language, and he's nervous. He's crouching. He's ready to pounce.
Okay.
And he's kind of mistrustful. And I agree with you. You look at a tiger or a lion, or I guess it's tiger or something, but he looks mistrustful. He looks ready. He looks, his eyes. And then the other thing I see is beauty. But because he's sort of mistrustful, I see him kind of like ready to pounce. There's a beauty outside, which we all see and appreciate. But I see like there's something mysterious about the tiger. There's an inner beauty that we don't know yet. So there's beauty, but there's also danger because they're dangerous animals.
Now the responses that you all are doing, we can just jump to the end of this one because I hear the poems coming out just in what you're saying. Exactly. A lot of the ideas that I see coming out, aside from the words that you're creating, the ideas that are coming out. And this last one, interconnectedness, interwoven, unity, and balance. And balance.
Okay, that one was me. Yeah, that was for the tree, but I couldn't really seem to move it over there.
Oh yeah, I saw you over there working it. Look, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess my thoughts behind that. Yeah, the tree looks really mighty, really powerful, and what we see above, we just know it's going crazy underneath, connecting to other bushes, connecting to houses far away, trees far away. And yeah, just thinking about how, our breath goes through, how trees give oxygen and we breathe it in and we give stuff back to the ground, or at least we're supposed to. And yeah, how we're all just kind of breathing the same breath. And cycling about.
Okay.
All right.
Let's move
Actually,
on.
Neville, I'd like to share mine too, even though I didn't post it.
Okay.
Okay, so I think everybody zoomed in on that tree. It was just such a powerful tree, and I did too. And I simply wrote, tree, ancient, broad, strong, powerful, safe ancestors, paying homage to ancestors, awaiting your prayers, connecting us to the past. So it just touched my soul. It was just such a powerful image. The more I looked at it, the more I was pulled into it.
This is Barbara. I would like to also say something, but I wasn't able to pull up the sticky note.
That's what I was looking at just now, right? Okay.
I wasn't able to. The tree, to me, it looks graceful, like the horizontal limb branches there. It's almost like a ballerina is laying horizontal with one leg up and one leg down in the front. I guess because I used to want to be a ballerina.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It just looks very graceful to me. I don't know if anyone else sees that.
I see it now. Yeah, no, and I like because we bring with everything our own experiences and our own the things that we have within inside, and now that you said it that way, I do imagine it that way, and I was connecting that to the balance too, because before it was said it was brought up about the balance, and I was thinking about the balance of life, but then when you brought in the dancer and the gracefulness, then I was thinking about balancing themselves.
Yes, it does look graceful to me.
Right. Neville, am I correct in that this is actually two trees that have connected in that way? Is there a space between the base, the root, the trunk?
In looking at the picture, it looks like it's actually three different trunks.
It looks like I see at least two.
Yeah.
And they have given way to one another to allow each of them to have the opportunity for growth. And that's a whole nother dynamic of nature.
Okay, now you're going too far. Now you're just going too far. Oh my goodness! This is the beauty of it, because normally when I do this, I have to go through the steps in order to get to start to move the ideas to come out. But the ideas are already coming out from the very beginning, which is good. I love it. Let me. With that being said, I'll go to the next slide, and this is a quickie. Just imagery. Think about imagery when you're looking at those photos. You can do the same photo that you did. You can do a new photo, but put down visual, like some sight. We can start, because that's like most of the time for poetry or for most of the things that we see, the visual is first. We see it first, and think about auditory. What you may hear, olfactory, what you may smell, and tactile, like what you may touch or feel that may come out of there. And we'll do that for like a minute.
Can the sticky note not be in front of the images, or does it have to be that way?
No, you can move. You're saying after you.
No, I mean just now when you were typing this, it was covering up the images, and I was.
Okay. No, yeah. That was because I'm sharing it. So yeah. So no, it won't be in front of you. Okay, what kind of observations are we
We
having?
got the tail.
Okay, I'm seeing metal crunching,
What is this?
burning tires. Yeah, I can smell that. Exhaust, gas. Okay, the fumes from gas.
What y'all talking about?
I see fresh green grass.
I don't understand it.
Tiger breath.
Wow.
Look, or tiger and breath.
I think it's tiger breath. Oh gosh.
I can imagine when I see that, when I saw the tiger in the breath, I automatically felt something in terms of what it would feel like
Yeah, the heat.
to feel that breath on you and the predicament you would be in for you to even be that close. And that it kind of drove me to my cats, because I have two cats, and one is always, if you lay down for a minute, one is always trying to climb up on you and just look directly in your face, and his purring. And it's kind of sinister. I'm like, get off of me. I don't like it. Reminds me of the tiger.
That's what I hear, the purring of the.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I hear.
Okay, yeah, that purring.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking silence too, because if I did see a tiger and it was silent.
Oh, I see Gwen on here. Huh?
No, there isn't a link itself. I guess you may have to log in, I guess, to be able to use the sticky note. But it should be, it's right here on the side. That's just someone.
I also, Pablo again, I also thought silence with the tiger.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, because he's looking right at you. That's a moment of connectedness and you're just silent. I thought that was powerful.
I selected the dumpster for this one, Neville. I looked at just the idea of lives spent and waste. I envision that there would be lots of broken glass crunching underfoot, and the foul stench of that dumpster. The thought of it was just, and I've experienced being too close to a dumpster, that it's more than just a smell. It almost permeates your body, and and you have a physical reaction to being too close to a dumpster.
Okay.
For the sticky notes, do you just click on right click?
No, if you left click it, and it should pull up a window that looks like that.
Mine's not doing it.
Yeah, mine either. That's why I'm ranking my notes.
Okay. Yeah. I guess or if you want to put them in the chat, that's fine. Either way. And it's just building up for yourself to have, your own words and images. And we're going to move on to the next one. I don't want to hold time too long. Let's see. and because we're coming from just taking a basic idea of visualizing it, and then progressively getting into beyond just what we see, and then going into now think about how does it move, all of the images, how does it talk, what does it sound like, and for us, a lot of them, of course, there's some that'll be a little bit more difficult to even think, but take those images and give it life in terms of think diction, think how will it speak, think about the tone of the speech that your subject, think about the tone of how it will talk.
The car is skidding down the highway on its side with sparks from the car.
Mm.
And that the sound of it skidding.
Mm-hmm. And that's giving me chalkboard vibes. It's making my fingernails hurt.
Yes. Yes.
I can hear it, you know, and it's funny because I'm thinking about it because my daughter was talking to me yesterday while we were driving, and she was like, tell me about your first accident. And I'm like, first of all, she asked me the weirdest things. Like, why we riding down the street, you asking me about an accident. Don't jinx me here. So I'm like, I mean, what do you mean? Tell me about your first accident. I mean, like, tell me about it. How did it go? And I said, I can't tell you about it because it's not like TV. It wasn't slow motion. It's just boom. And I was in it. And then so I started to think about it myself and said, well, what kind of images do I see? It's like I saw a bunch of still images. And then the noises, you know?
Yeah.
And then just the feeling of like right after an accident of that, I don't know, it's kind of like a tense feeling within yourself. And then the imagining, what if you had gone the other way? Okay, look at that tree.
The trees, you hear rustling of the leaves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is it a slow rustling for you, or like a skittering?
It depends on the wind, the velocity of the wind, whether or not it's going to be slow.
Mm-hmm. So that goes back to that. I know someone put it on the first slide about the interconnectedness, and now how it's reliant on the wind to, I guess, give it life, and at the same time, the wind gives it death. Because in the fall, when that wind starts to blow, and those leaves start to drop, and it says slowly. I was imagining Lord of the Rings, but I think they did a good job with imagining, with painting giving a visual image to how a tree would talk, if they had voice, how they would.
That's exactly what I thought when I
Right.
those big slow trees.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the time because I felt so bad when he saw all of his friends did, and he was like, "Those guys were my friends." And I was like, "Oh my God!" He saw the trees burned. Then he said, "A wizard should know better." Yes, exactly. Mm. Three voices at once, like a Greek chorus. Ooh. It sings like the color of the wind. What's the color of the wind? What's your color
Yeah.
for the wind? Okay, for time, let me go to the next one. And the last one is give it a scenario, connect it to the human condition. Write at least an 8-line poem about your subject. You've given it life. You've you've given it breath. You've given it color. Now connect it to something. Make it represent something. Because that tree is definitely more than just a tree. That tiger is representative of something. And give it life. That dumpster, when it was clean, was different from when it's full. It's got a lot of stuff in there. It's a lot of stuff that's connected. It's saying a lot too. Is it smiling or is it crying?
Get into the program, man.
And that car?
I had some fun with the car. I put my notes in the chat.
Oh, let me see that. Okay. Mm. Lying sideways, such humiliation. My Sunday cruise ended much too cruelly. Ooh. Abandoned now. No one cares for abandoned autos. No longer useful to careless drivers. My riding days are done. Oh my God. And it just, I'm imagining that how useful and how needed the car was before the accident.
Right.
And how he would feel after, because in just an instant, he's insignificant.
I chose not to think about the possible fatality of a human life and make it a whole different spin on, you know.
I like that.
And most often when we see a car like that, we think about who might have been in it.
Yeah. That's like the first thing that I would think. But then to think, of how they're connected with us, and how the auto or the car is like a form of independence for some, young, and then how it grew with you. And at one time, it was like the best thing, when you went to go get it and you test drive that baby, you're like, oh my God. And when you got it, and after a while, just like with Well, hopefully not with us,
Right.
not with humans, you know. Is that not like the life cycle of us?
Exactly. Abandoned once.
Once your kids don't need you anymore, once they can fend for themselves and they have their independence, and their independence is with their new car, you know, and they kind of push us.
That's a great observation. I remember my grandfather, when he got too old, he wasn't, family had to say you couldn't drive anymore. So it was really an independence, and it was not easy.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that too, because I was thinking that too. My grandmother, it was not, they had to do it so many times. Like, you had to just keep, because that's, and I guess we don't really look at it like independent, but it is, it's
totally.
It's like one of the first steps for us, major steps. And we're like, now I can go where I want. I can travel the way I want to travel.
Yeah, the whole notion of having to relinquish your car keys at some stage of life is traumatic, and something that most seniors fight. I remember my father fought. I know so many other family members, they had to hide the keys, and just it's really something you don't think about until you're approaching that point, but it happens. We have to. I mean, we all want to live long. There are things that we have to adjust to in that process.
Yeah. And I love that. I would like to read about that process. I want to see somebody put it into words, that feeling that you have at that process, because because we're having it, little by little, we're getting little pieces of that process. We already know I'm 53, so I know that there's certain things that I'm not going to do anymore, or there's certain things that I've already passed that stage, and I'm starting to look at another window or another hallway. I'm looking at another hallway that I'm walking down, and things are starting to change. Different forms of losing certain independence, and certain things that comes with it.
I've heard one poet to reference it as to look at something with more memory than means.
Yes. Yeah, I like that.
I thought that captured it so well, and it applies universally.
More memories than
means. The means as in the ability to do it still. So you don't have the means to do it, but you have the memory of when you did.
Okay.
Hey, I'm looking at Candace, the screams of the protests from the sanitation workers on strike. Oh, okay. No, these are the poems. Okay, hold up. Let me leave that. Okay, let's hear what we have. That's Miss Candace. I see you wrote something in the chat. Did you want to share?
She's still muted.
Okay, sure. The screams of the protests from the sanitation workers on strike, the honks of the horns in support of the union rights. I know we can all read it, but the children holler at the stench. The streets are in protest of the abhorrent conditions. Even the homeless picket against the degradation of their neighborhood. The community longs for the beeping reverse noise of the garbage trucks to come. And I just see so much need in this photo. I can feel, the weeks or the week. This is like 2 or 3 weeks. It feels that someone is fed up. There's a feeling of burden. And I kind of placed it in the scenario of, what it's like when our streets are not cleaned up, and how even the least of these, whether they be children or the homeless, or the workers themselves, everyone is paying for this process. And it's almost as if like the sanitation workers weren't being paid well, and so they didn't complete their job, and it affects everyone. And so to really go to the source of, the problem it kind of affects everybody. So I wanted to give off the ripple effect of what happens when, decisions are made or not made.
I like it. You can go ahead.
It's a cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that what stood out to me, that the streets are in protest. I was like, "Ooh, okay, yes, the streets." And homelessness kept jumping out to me. When I every time when I looked at the dumpster, when I looked at that image, homelessness jumped out to me. And then what stood out to me, or what I kept thinking was, I kept feeling greed. Greed kept coming into my mind, or not greed, excess. How we have so much, and we really don't use probably 90% of the stuff that we have, and it ends up there. And then people, some people have to, and that's food for some people. Same thing with how the animals live off a lot of. I know when they went into COVID restrictions in New York City, how they had massive rats just roaming because they didn't have their normal source of food, because they live off of what we drop on the street all the time, and we're not out there, they're not eating, or they got to find another source of food. All this interconnectedness. I like that. Okay. It's nice. I'm going to snap for that one. Okay. We have Kiana, the artist. I see. Okay. All right. Okay. So with that,
Did you want me to speak on it? I didn't understand it.
Yeah. We'll go ahead.
Okay.
We'll wrap it up with you so that we can move on
Okay.
to the next part of the film.
I went to the other part. I went on to see the world, see the pollution and breathing to the health. The pollution in which the air makes it clean. Breathing the air can make it hard for the health. Breathe. The pollution doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel unpleased. So how we live in the environment of pollution every day, and how the pollution is not clean, and how sometimes it affects our health. So that's when I was looking at, see how the trash is just putting all together, and then you have all the pollution, all the trash and all the plastic, it just piles up. So I was writing about pollution. So.
All right. Well, thank you all for that. I'm gonna give it back to Sister Joy, and she can move on to the next part of the evening.
Well, thank you, Neville. First of all, let's show some love for Neville, however you wish to express. Claps or snaps, claps or snaps. Neville, thank you for the journey. And actually, it leads us into our session on ekphrastic poetry. And ekphrastic poetry is simply poetry that is inspired by visual art. So we're just going to do this for a very few minutes, but ekphrastic in Greek, it simply means description. And that's very much what we've been doing, taking the images that Neville provided for us and writing what that evokes in our spirit. So not necessarily trying to totally describe word for word what is there, but what does it make you feel like? What does it conjure in your spirit? So I would say an ekphrastic poem is a vivid description of a scene, or more commonly, a work of art. Through the imaginative act of narrating and reflecting on the action of a painting or sculpture, the poet can amplify and expand its meaning. So ekphrastic poetry is based on a work of art. And we have a visual artist with us today that is going to screen share some of her art and also talk about the process of creating that art. And we're going to take a few minutes to see if perhaps we can be inspired to at least begin some poems inspired by the work of Killebrew. And I want to first tell you a little bit about Kia. She is a visual artist and also a graphic designer who goes by her last name, Killebrew. Art has been a significant passion of hers since about the age of 5. After graduating from college with her BFA in Fine Arts and Graphic Design, she began her career at Sister to Sister magazine, where she remained for several years. Later on, moving to design ad campaigns and various other visual art assets for celebrities and corporate brands such as Forever 21, Harbor Freight, Discovery Channel, Mary Kay, Sheets, and more. But it is my honor to present to you visual artist Kia Killebrew. Kia, welcome, and thank you for being with us today.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be a part of this. I hope you guys.
Okay, so Kia, is there anything else before we begin seeing and speaking about your art that you'd like to tell us about you? Because I really want our guests to know you.
I don't know. Thank you again for that introduction. After all of those things, you know, I decided to step out on faith and start my own business. So I have my own art shop, online boutique. It's kellybrewsworld.com. And it's just an extension of my art where I've been able to make it into wearable art. For instance, even like my jacket that I have. So that's what I'm currently doing. I'm always still painting and you know, creating. It's just an everyday part of my life. And I'm thankful to, you know, have these talents and gifts from God to be able to share with everyone and to be blessed to live my dream every day because, you know, I worked in the media industry for a long time but I've always been doing my art and stuff. But through my journey in the media industry, it led me to where I am today to be able to focus on my true passion, which is my art and just creating and sharing it with the world. So unless anybody has any questions, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Well, we have a couple of images of your art. We can ask Joshua if he will screenshot it and share it, or yeah, I think Joshua can do full screen. There we go. So tell us about these two pieces of art and how they came about and what they represent to you.
Okay, I didn't even realize you guys were going to do the screenshot. I could have stayed at home, but nonetheless, I'm here at Annie's Art Gallery, you know, where if anybody's interested in buying those pieces, they're for sale. But nonetheless, I will start with the one on the right, which is called Lost and Found. And that piece, you know, when I was going to college, most of my design and art experience was digital. And for a long time, I didn't paint. But then when I moved to California, after living in Atlanta and, you know, different places around the country, when I moved to LA, that was a new journey for me. That was like, it was so many things going on in my life, culture shock, just, you know, experiencing different things. And, you know, LA is like a desert. And it also allows you to, at least for me, it allowed me to go on a journey where I was able to find myself and learn new things about myself along the way. So that's why it kind of has like images of a desert and sort of, I want to say lost, quote unquote, because I was definitely on a journey, you know, trying to figure out who I was, what I wanted to do, where I saw myself. I went through so many things from, you know, being successful in the media industry, taking care of my elderly grandparents, experiencing homelessness, just, you know, so many things. So it's really just like a journey of things that I've been through and trying to find myself. And that's why it's called Lost and Found, and all of the colorful experiences and things that I went through during that time, good and bad, you know, so it's just like a combination of those types of things. I don't really like to go too much into detail about my art because I really prefer for people to have their own interpretation of it. Okay. But just know that any piece of art that you see by me, especially if it's a hand painting, because I take those type of pieces of work, I hold them in a different light than I do from my digital art because of the connection with me and the paint and the brushes and I usually paint on wood. So for the most part, that particular piece is on wood. The other one is on black canvas, which is my second favorite substrate to use. But I just, regardless if I explain it to you or not really know, but I do, there's a piece of me in every single piece that I paint. Like there's a story, there's something there that connects to me personally with every piece that I paint. So that's for the first piece.
Okay, well, we're going to take a few minutes to allow everyone to maybe write 4 to 5 lines for whichever piece of art speaks most directly to you. First, I want to say thank you, Kia, for these beautiful pieces of art that you're sharing with us. You're mega talented, clearly. But we want
thank you.
Oh, absolutely. We want to take about 5 minutes. So this is definitely a quick moment for seeing what happens when you just pick up the pen. And
can I say one more thing?
Yes. We don't hear you.
Start?
Yes.
Inspired that.
We're having audio
Can you
problems.
hear me?
Okay, and now I hear you a little bit better.
You hear me? Okay. Oh, maybe that was my internet connection. I just saw the little spinny thing. Can you hear me now?
We're having echo sounds, but we can't hear you. Well, we were hearing you.
Can you guys? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just was also again inspired from all of those things, but through my journey as a part of it, I have been for the last 3 years doing a lot of research on my family ancestry. So it's called Uni, short for universe. So it's just interesting to me how the universe will show you different things that you never really expected about yourself, and just doing this whole family and doing my family ancestry and being a designated person, this love of labor, it's been really special to me because, you know, it's bittersweet when you're learning about your ancestry. Nobody really tells you that part. Okay. You just get excited from learning about the initial past, but you know, it's a bittersweet journey, but it's one that I'm grateful for because I've been able to learn a lot of things about my family that I had not even a clue about. And so that plays a huge part in my artwork. Even if you go to my website, if you get an email from me or anything like that, you will see on there my tagline is for those who honor their ancestors in Black culture, because that's very important to me. And if you see behind me, my ancestors right here behind me supporting me, and there's some other artwork and stuff. So, you know, that's a really big deal to me.
Kia, can you give us the name again for the image on the right? What is the title of that piece of art?
That one is Lost and Found.
Okay, so we have Lost and Found, and we have Uni. Okay, so can you also please put into the chat how our guests can contact you? Either a website or an email address or both, whichever you're more comfortable with. But we want to take Joshua, can you give us 5 minutes of light jazz so that we can have some reflecting music as we craft some brief poetry inspired by the work of Killebrew?
Where's the shot?
At the very bottom of your screen. If you pull your mouse down, you see it?
Yep.
And when we come back from the writing sessions, Neville Adams is going to kick off our open mic with 2 to 3 of his poems, and I'll do one, and then we'll open the mic for everybody who would like to share. Time is getting away, but we have until 3 o'clock, so I think we should be good. The clock is now on for our 5 minutes of writing, poetry inspired by the work of Killebrew. Thank you so much. Okay. So we are at that 15-minute, yeah. So I want to hear, first of all, Kiana, thank you so much. I'm sorry, Kia, thank you so much for sharing your art, your beautiful art. And I'm excited now to hear what others have been inspired to write. Let's see, should I go first or yeah, I'm gonna go last. I'm gonna go last. So why don't we, anyone who would care to share first?
Yeah, I want to.
Go ahead. Yes, and tell us who you are. I'm sorry.
Why did I forget?
Somebody said, yes, I want to go first. Who was that?
I'll go.
Okay, Neville.
Here I stand, no longer fighting the shades of the universe. A wise woman once told me, you have to own your struggle. So I hit her in the face with my pain. Never have I felt so good, living, breathing, letting the rain hit my naked soul, living between the notes of a never-ending melody. I am free.
All right, love it. Thank you very much. That was Neville, our workshop facilitator, kicking off the Ecrastic Poetry session. Thank you, Neville. And let me again say thank you for guiding us up to this point, because your workshop was the perfect segue to this Ecrastic Poetry. It couldn't have worked out better. So thank you so much again. Okay, that was Neville. Who do we have next? Anybody want to go? And we could call on names. Let's see, Candace, did you write something? Okay, Candace, we'll hear from Candace.
Okay, all right. So I wrote, my patterns are a part of me, never to be ignored. No skipped chapters on this journey. Life's brush misses not one nook or cranny. So before life asks me to become a granny, I will pack up my patterns and cook up the fabric of me. I will warm myself with my experiences with no judgment. I am snazzy, jazzy, and raspberry. I am Mary. Mary, don't you weep, don't you worry. The all-seeing eye is not blurry, just as wordy as we discuss all that we must to adjust the timeless capsule of forever. The journey is the eternal pleasure of discovery.
All right. Fabulous. That was a lot for 5 minutes. Right? Okay. Thank you so very much. It was beautiful, Candace. Okay. Let's see. How about Pablo? Can we hear what Pablo has shared?
Okay. Well, first, I don't have a poem ready. I can share what I thought.
Yeah. Whatever you thought. Yeah.
I started to write a poem, but I just wrote down observations like we were doing before.
Sure.
And it's a beautiful piece of work here. You know what it made me think of? I looked at the center, the figure in the center, and it reminded me of the old crone in The Maid. The old crone looking towards the east, which is maybe where you were saying you're from. But if you look at that picture, you can see a face looking towards the west. And that looks like a younger person. And they're one and the same person that's surrounded by gold. So the old crone and the maid are the same person. And then if you look towards the west, where I grew up partly in Los Angeles. So that you have the artwork. It looks like a herring piece of a Keith Haring type of cactus on it.
Right.
You know, but if you look at the left, you also see the same figures and shapes, and it also has sort of a crown on top of the cactus, but they're different. So it's really finding yourself is really a journey of self-discovery that's very circular. If you look at the art, it's all curvy, none of it is straight. And they're really just reiterations of the same shapes and forms, but in different interpretations. And so you notice that also in the colors. There's the same colors on both sides, but the shapes and the way they're made are different. I thought it was really fascinating. It made me think a lot.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing your art.
Pablo.
Thank you for that observation.
Yes. And we always love for the artists to hear the feedback because this is something that sometimes people come in and they look at your art, but they don't really give you the critique, the feedback. And this isn't really a critique. It's just the reaction to your art. So I'm glad you're able to.
I love it. I love it.
Okay. All right. Let's see. How about Kiana, the artist? Kiana, the artist?
Mine is only simple.
Okay.
Beautiful culture, beautiful soul, beautiful love, and God eyes is beautiful art.
Okay.
Thank you.
Beautiful is the key operative word there. Thank you so much, Kiana. Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. How about Sunshine?
Okay, hello.
Hey.
Yeah, I was inspired more by that first piece. Yeah, I saw her being colorful and vibrant in the darkness around her. So I wrote, it's tough to be colorful, unique, and beautiful in a strange, controlled type of darkness. To glow in a place that feeds on controlled darkness is bravery, but can make you an unnecessary martyr. Because it's suicide if you fight, because the fight will drain you. But it's also suicide if you endure it to the end. To last and survive means that you've learned the ways and the tricks of the beast, how to combat it, its attacks, and how to dodge, but to know it and to live with it is to breathe it and live it. So, yeah.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you, Sunshine. Okay. Moving on down to Christine.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Christine Jenkins, can you turn your camera on? There she is. Okay. We want to hear from Christine.
Oh my goodness, this is my first time, you all, so please don't laugh.
Oh, this is great. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'll say my first time was a joy. You know, you were asking me to write poetry, so I'm trying it. I wanted to jump in earlier too with Neville and all of that, but I couldn't figure out how to get my Post-it notes in there back. Yeah, the art is very beautiful. So I guess the first picture I wrote, and I think all of us are, along the same lines. Yes, I am special. I choose to be free. I choose to be led by my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and adorn myself with color and glory. But God ultimately gets the glory out of my life according to his will. Yes, I am special.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Right now.
All right. Okay.
Love
Thank
it.
you so much, Christine. Yes. And for those, we're very thrilled to have Christine with us. For those that don't know Christine, she's a fabulous vocalist. And we're very happy that she stepped into another genre today.
Yes.
After a long time, I've been working. So
yes.
Okay. How about Jennifer? Can we hear from Jennifer?
Yes. Can you hear me, Joy?
Yes, I hear you just fine.
Okay, thank you. I will take this cactus like therapists say I should bite the elephant in the room. But first, its needles, its persistently 3 arms, its curves like mine, centered against Da Vinci's tradition of triangles, will puncture the membrane just deeply enough to suspend me.
Okay.
Nice.
Jennifer.
Nice. Thank you.
Such reflections. I'm loving it myself, and it's not even my art, so I can only imagine what you must be feeling, Kia.
I know, like I'm just overwhelmed a little bit because the observations and the words, it's very beautiful, and they're like right on the money. It's almost like they were there with me when I was making it.
Okay, all right. So moving on to our next name, I see iPad Leon. Is iPad Leon observing or participating?
Probably observing.
I thought as much. Okay, I'm going to keep moving on down the line. Welcome, Leon. We're happy to have you.
Yes.
Let's see, how about Vanessa? Vanessa Scott?
No. I'm pretty sure that's my mom, so I'm sure she's just watching.
Oh, she's not, okay, okay, so we're gonna move on down. I see Gwen is here. Is Gwen going to speak?
That's a lot of my
I'm
family.
just observing.
Watching. But thank you for the support, fam.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being with us to support Kia in her sharing her art for our Ecrastic workshop today. How about Anne Harding Woodward? Anne, welcome.
It's really great to be here. I do have a few lines to read.
Okay.
Do you want me to turn my, I can turn my camera on.
Yeah, that would be good. So we can actually see you. Thank you.
Okay. So I took the winning one. He claps thunder for what she sees and hears out there, and still she keeps the beauty in the storm. The stars just over her shoulder shimmer like the moon, and the music sounds its spirals into the heart. I hear it. I see it too, as her elbows lift her up off of earth.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate your observation.
Thank you.
And let's see, did I miss anybody? Is anybody's, let's see, let's see, Sister Hope, are you still with us? I saw Jacinta White earlier. Is Jacinta White still with us? And if so, are you sharing for the Ecrastic Poetry session? Well, I'm guessing not. I don't see anything further. Gallery view showing Neville, Candace, and no. Okay, so evidently she had to depart. So I'm going to share what I was inspired to write. Again, words, not a poem, but words. And I have to say it's a combination of the two. So I wrote, elegance and beauty born through ancestral strength. See how I glow. My path is pure. My soul radiates, telling the world of my journey. I am one with the universe. See how I shine.
That was beautiful. Joy.
Yeah.
So your art.
Thank you.
Your art is beautiful. Thank you so very much. And did you put your contact information in the chat?
Yes, I did. And you know, once outside is back to us being able to have events and things like that, you know, I definitely plan on doing an art show where you guys can see my artwork in its entirety, because I have so much art, like hand paintings and digital art, because I'm a digital artist too, but my hand paintings alone, like I have enough to fill up a small gallery, and there's so many that I haven't put out there like that. So I cannot wait for outside to be good again so we can get an art show going on.
Okay. Well, Kia, I hope you'll stick around. We're going to now transition over to our open mic, and some of the guests, they may want to be sharing more from the pieces that you inspired them to write, or they may be sharing pieces that were inspired from the workshop that Neville kicked us off with today, or they may be sharing pieces that they had and brought to today's session of literacy through poetry. But as you can see, this is literacy through poetry, and I hope everybody can understand and embrace the reality that words are in fact the basis of art. When we talk about poetry, we are inspired by things that we see every day. We're inspired by people that touch our lives every day. We certainly want to open the opportunity for persons who may not have yet picked up a pen, but understand that it is possible to express something and convey your feelings, because that's what poetry has to do. It should let somebody else know what you're feeling about what you're experiencing. We don't want to just tell a story about what we see and there's no connection to your soul. So thank you all for what you've already shared. And now we are going to hear a couple of poems by our featured poet, Neville Adams. And maybe after that, I'll share one poem, and then we're going to go directly to poetry by each of you. So, Neville, what do you have for us to kick off our open mic? Thank you again, Kia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, I'll do a piece that was inspired through personification that I did a couple of years ago, and then just one of the other pieces that I do. All right. This one is called Katrina, My Love. This is my love poem. Well, technically. I know this girl, her name is Katrina. Never met a girl who could be any meaner. Her stature, her fury, her horrid demeanor made men desire death. It's the price when you've seen her. I saw her from across the room as she entered. It wasn't the sway of her movement or her tone that captivated me. Once again, as with all my loveless, lustful lovers, it was her eyes. Yes, magnetically, I peered directly into her eyes like a madman fixated by the sun. The sheer pleasure evoked by the threat that you might lose sight if you stare too long. They say it's deadly to reach the eye of a hurricane. So transfixed by the eye, my insanity shone plain, for they say the eye is a window to the soul. So I looked through the window and lost all control. Yeah, she knew I was watching. I felt her erotic dementia, like a victim of a voyeur who's in love with attention, for she allows my naked eye to gently stroke her bare physique. An eruption sure to follow, simply because I love mystique. A volcano at the brink because my resistance was weak. Her form, a silhouette, had eclipsed all reason. I saw nothing but evil, for evil was in season. Now the light crept into darkness, for my spirit was sold. Wisdom wrinkles graced my face, became instantly old, and then I could truly see her story unfold. The insight from hindsight that's never been told. Not talking response times, for that's a given. Simply another example of imperialism. The haves always will, and the needy will not. Save yourself, for you all that you've got. Keep waiting for aid, find yourself in a spot. I know a girl, her name was Katrina. Never met a girl who could be any meaner. She was what one might call a true product of her environment. Sun-searing, meteoric, cataclysmic, ultraviolet light, rays running rampant, retrospective our plights. You see, the trees are all angry, lands in disarray. If nature could speak, ever wondered what she'd say? Hollywood created atrocities. Day after tomorrow's not fiction, it's prophecy. False beliefs are a mockery. To love life, we must take stock in we. Orwell wrote in 84, they'll violate our lives. Constitutional evolution, Patriot Act in 05. Cameras everywhere, spies on the net, prayed for technological advances. Now we end up in regret. Where am I? Okay. We've destroyed natural beauty, couldn't leave it alone. Now the gap in the layer is ground down to the bone. The marrow is ebbing, fleeting pulse of ozone. Caps melting, waters rising, floods killing insane. Fingers pointing, tempers flaring, just who do we blame? Gods cursing, evils nursing, forests gone up in flames. Humans dying, politicians lying, humanity's no longer humane. Acid raining, soil eroding, sky foreboding, values corroding, asphalt exploding, old blood spilling, volcanoes erupting and sliding down hills, avalanches abundant, earthquakes redundant, abortions and pills. Her bearing her soul laid claim to my earth. My desire to have her increased. I now felt her worth. So I bed and then wed the black widow devastating earth. It was marked on my grave since the day of my birth. Product of dominion over a crumbling domain, sewn into my breast, branded into my brain. Like Romans, we stand at the foot of the drain, civilized yet uncivil. Is civility plain? I hate her and love her, and hate to love her and love to hate her, and hate to love her hate, and love to hate her love, and love to hate her love of my hate, and hate to love her hate of my love. For her, my Frankenstein's bride's my soul's greatest creation. She's come back home while her home destroys nations. Her kisses demonic, wrath unparalleled, send some up to heaven and others to hell. But no matter how perilous her pestilence reigns, no matter how sickly her savagery drains, no matter how bloated the body she claims or the toxic domain that saturates veins, we are wed to her psyche, for our lust still remains till our blood drips from judgment, covers earth with the stains. We're stuck with her torment, bound by the chains, for she and I are one, and until I and she, us and we face reality, we will never truly be free of the blame, for the blame starts and ends with we. I met a girl, her name was Katrina. I never met a girl who could be any meaner. Thank you.
Woo! Wow. Neville Adams, featured poet for November 2020 Literacy Through Poetry. I think you said that.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. All right, let's see. Candace, I see you signed for the open mic. Do you have a piece you'd care to share? Candace.
I do. Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you to everybody who's encouraging extra sensory poetry. Everyone who's encouraging us to use our senses, and then go also in for that feeling. So I had to research and in search for a piece that makes me feel away.
Okay.
It starts a little vocal, but it's poetry too. Okay. Daddy's gone now. He's in no more pain. He's in a song now. This eternal refrain. This forever chorus. He's forever for us. I walk this life with my daddy's pride. I walk this life with my daddy's pride. He was one amazing guy. He's now a ribbon in the sky. He's one of my guides, still communicating from the other side. I will walk this life with my daddy's pride. I will walk this life with my daddy's pride. I will walk the planet, taking nothing for granted. I saw what his hands did. I am the seed he planted. I will walk this life with my daddy's pride. He bounced me on his knees and I would giggle with glee. He would always find the time to tickle me. It would tickle me the way that he would love to play. I would laugh at all his jokes. His volume would be the most. At any restaurant, he said, "Get what you want." He would order after me. He said, "You know what to eat." He taught me how to draw. He taught me how to skate. He forgave me when I lied and I would sneak in late. He held my newborn baby when I was just 18. He asked me for forgiveness when he was being mean. He whistled at events. He smiled at all my friends. He helped me play pretend. He was truly heaven sent. He was my friend. My daddy was my friend, a storytelling gent. I know exactly where he went. Back home, daddy went home. Daddy went back home. Daddy went home.
Oh, how beautiful, how tender. Thank you very much, Candace. Thank you for being with us. We hope you'll continue to stay with the series for our final episode next month. But thank you for being a part of today's session. We've enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Okay. How about, let's see, I'm moving down the list. Pablo, do you have something you care to share during this open mic segment? Oh, I see. He's put a note. He had to go to another meeting. So we'll move on down. How about Kiana, the artist? Kiana, did you have a piece that you'd care to share during the open mic?
Yes, my original piece. It's called All in One. The attitude of character to visible love to unspoken word. I'm the artist. I'm the artist. He believe in God, believe also in me. I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I'm a woman with faith with God. What matters to me, what falls in place to never to justify what you can become. Every day is a new day. Every day is a bright and sunny day. I tend to be with my friends to become even more. My deepest fear is to believe in yourself. To judge me because I am Black in this moment of speech. Now walk in my shoes, now walk in my shoes, now walk in my shoes, now walk in my shoes. My naysayers can't say what to say about you because I am somebody, because I am somebody. To the natural hair, to the natural eyes, to the natural lips, look at me, I'm natural. These testy terms you, is this mic on? Can I have your attention, please? Words and dreams are reality. So I am here because I'm the next generation. Thank you for having me on today.
Okay, thank you so very much, Kiana, the artist. And we look forward to hopefully staying in touch with you. And I'm going to put my email address in the chat as well while we move on to hear from Sunshine. If Sunshine has a piece that she'd care to share, but I want to make sure that if anybody wants to be in touch after we conclude around 3 o'clock today, that you can simply reach me at sisterjoy at pgahc.org. But I'll put it in the chat so everybody can have access to it. I'd love to hear from you as to feedback on today's session also. We always love to hear, are we hitting the mark or missing the mark? And what would you like to hear or see during the next sessions coming up? Thank you so much. Now, Sunshine, do you have a piece you'd care to share?
Yes, I do. Okay. Yeah, this piece, I wrote it a few months ago. It's called Now Is Not the Time to Be Neutral. It was inspired by some of the people that I ran into that felt like the victims of police brutality brought the violence onto themselves. And I just really wanted to get the point across that Black lives are very much endangered, no matter how educated you are, no matter how wealthy you are. And we just have to keep putting pressure on our politicians and local leaders to protect us. All right, let's get it. It's hard to focus on myself when the world around me is burning and dying a slow, torturous, silent death, with all mankind fearfully maintaining a 6-foot distance from one another. We can't hear each other's last words from behind these masks at this distance, but they keep us feeling a little safer in our last moments. I guess they succeeded with silencing us. I worry about my people. My distant siblings are being battered, beaten, baked, burned, and brought back to life from the dead in the form of fabricated fables formatted to feed the feeble-minded foes that enforce our American society. They fixate on the fiction to help them rest easy. They say things like, these people deserve it. They shouldn't have resisted. They shouldn't have been out so late. They shouldn't have been looking so suspicious in my neighborhood, and better them than me. Better them than me. Better them than me. Have you ever heard of the story of the last angel that wanted to play God and all of his friends who followed? Well, if you keep dictating who deserves to die and who has successfully served, seduced, and sucked off enough CEOs successfully silent enough to survive, you will find yourself infinitely chained in the ominous realm of souls that have been ordained to be tortured for all that they have slain. Yeah, it's been hard for me to focus on myself lately. There's nothing to protect these beautiful brown skins from the bullets that have been brilliantly magnetized to our various earth-based shades from birth by the blacksmiths of this country's judicial system. But you know, there's a little legend that lives under Black tongues that cash is the antidote. That if the cash stacks are thick enough and the accounts are strong enough, we'll be shielded from all storms. Some of us buy so wastefully, so you'll see value when you see us. because we know that our hearts, our souls, our dreams, and livelihoods are all wrapped in these dark skin tones that have been deemed dangerous. But at least you'll see labels on our feet before they're replaced with toe tags. And you know, the legend also sits in the hearts of children that with enough cash, they can build fortresses sky high with big moats that you'll need a big boat to bust through, and it'll be far away from all the racial slurs. Yeah. These are legends. But we all know at the same time that if we dress comfortable, casual, and cost efficient with just one glance, we're just worthless creatures of the night that could be easily swept under a rug after being crushed under your boots, your knees, your several warning shots, and silly little white lies. You see, we wear silver and diamonds on our teeth so you see something precious in our smile and won't be so quick to dim something sweet. And the most famous one is the legend that lives in the lungs of the old Negro souls that education is the key, that the degrees will set us free, that good paper will prepare us a prosperous future, that will wipe away our past and protect us. It will protect us from any casualties that come with our culture. They say that pretty little piece of paper will place us in tall, palace-like properties with offices and neckties that'll protect us. But in actuality, only give the murderers a easier opportunity to lynch us up close and personal. So I'm here to tell you, forget your ties, forget your feelings, and forget your friends. Now is not the time to be neutral.
Thank you so much. I definitely, I was feeling that piece. Thank you. And I hope we can stay in touch to find out how we can connect with one another and support one another. And that's for everybody who's here today. I have put my contact information in the chat. And for people that want to save the chat, if you're not familiar, in the very bottom of the chat, where it says file, there are 3 dots, the ellipses. If you click on that 3 dots, the ellipses, it tells you that you can save the chat, and that you want to do, just click that so that you can have, click that and then click save chat, and you can have all the notes, including the links that persons have posted and the contact information that has been posted as well. Want to make sure that you can follow up to today's workshop. Okay. Again, thank you so much, Sunshine. And Christine, do you have a poem that you'd care to share?
I didn't prepare just an actual poem, but I did have one that I wrote from Neville's workshop.
Okay.
Something just very brief, Sister Joy.
Okay, that would be absolutely fine.
Okay, and it's about the tree that we all talked about.
Okay, go right ahead.
Thank you for representing our life, which can also spread and blossom in so many different directions as the branches show forth. But yet the base is rooted firmly. It cannot be moved. Stay firm to the Creator. He has planted you to demonstrate that this is our life.
Okay, thank you, Christine. Yes. And I think this is your maiden voyage as a poet, so we really, really appreciate it.
I know. Okay, Thank you.
Now there's no turning back. We want you to stay on board. Okay. Thank you. Okay, how about Jennifer? Jennifer, do you have something for us?
I'm enjoying listening.
Okay.
I'll hold off. Thank you though.
Okay, not a problem. How, let's see, Vanessa, and I think Vanessa is viewing and observing. How about, I'm sorry, Vanessa, I don't want to cut you short. If you have something you'd care to share, please just let us know. Vanessa? I think not, so I'll move on. How about Anne Harding Woodward? Is Anne still with us?
Yes, I'm still here, Joy.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
This is delightful.
I'm just going to read a short one. It's called When It's Over, and the it means anything you want it to mean.
Okay.
When it's over, it stops, but not as abruptly as that. More like when the earworm leaves you and you don't know it's left. It isn't a decision, so it's not that you don't want it to continue, even though you don't. It just doesn't happen anymore. Maybe sometimes you get a familiar feeling and you think it's coming on, but it doesn't. Well, maybe something does, but not the way you know it can. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Anne. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, let's see. Is there another poet before I share mine that would like to share during the open mic? At this point, I'm going to share, and then we're going to have Neville close us out with a closing piece. But is there another guest that would like to share a poem during the open mic? Okay, well then I will share a relatively, actually a very new piece. You're the first audience to hear it. So I always say whenever I do a brand new piece, I still call it a work in progress. So this is titled Living in the Jim Crow South. Living in the Jim Crow South cast a larger than life shadow. Caution and prayer become your first cousins, carry you to and through hopeless days and crazed nights. Living in the Jim Crow South means moving in slow motion, like seemingly everything around you, taking slower steps, taking time to gauge the many pitfalls that lay ahead, speaking a bit slower, measuring out one word for every 10 that crosses your mind, but not your tongue, lest they be your last. For fast-talking Blacks don't last long in the Jim Crow South. Living in the Jim Crow South means being mindful of those who seek to ensure you never reach too high. So it's best to stay ever mindful of blood-stained dreams, of slain ancestors and elders whose struggles and dreams ended much too soon. Living in the Jim Crow South affects you, becomes locked into your DNA. DNA? Do not aspire to dream, to rise, to challenge. DNA? Do not attempt to believe you deserve equality. DNA? Do not attempt to encourage your sister or brother to rise above their circumstances. DNA. Do not attempt to breathe too deeply, lest you hear and feel echoes of yesterday's whips that snap as they cut into the souls of Black bodies. Living in the Jim Crow South is not locked in the past and can take place in New York, Wisconsin, or California, places where whips are replaced by blind bullets that follow the same sight lines as their precursor whips that target Black backs, minds, and ambitions living in the Jim Crow South.
Yes, awesome. Awesome.
Thank you so much. You're the first to hear it, and I hope, I'd love to hear feedback. Either way, good, bad, what worked, what didn't. I'll work a little bit, but I felt comfortable enough to share it today. So thank you. And Neville, can you round us out, to close us out with one of your pieces. I always say powerful pieces, but I don't want to guide you. You may want to bring us to a point of serenity. It's totally up
Right.
to you.
All right. Okay. Famous kings erected walls to keep the have-nots out. Train tracks in southern townships still segregate the South. Apartheid used police to beat you down to scare you. Crime rate now takes its place, forms an invisible barrier. United States was formed by those who wanted freedom and peace. Redskins singing was too noisy. Paleface just couldn't sleep. Took a war for confrontations called diplomacy. Tears trailing from the joys of forced democracy. But in the capital city, it's the span of a bridge. Walk across it, middle class, see how the other half lives. In this homicidal government we call this deceit, where pretentious policymakers and the bureaucrats meet. Shapers of the formless nation, pearly whites mean deceit. Leagues as lawyers, looting laymen, it's the poor that they cheat. Countless confiscated comforts while we're living like drones. Or the poor who live restricted, left to sift through the bones. Make them live east of the river, tightly packed in drab homes. Danger lurks in every crevice for natives who choose to roam. Move too close to white picket fences, they'll reconfigure the zones. Gentrifiers covertly conspire to cut the wool off the sheep, to make the rugs that lay in foyers to wipe the blood off their feet. Step over humans that litter ground and freeze to death in the street. Working poor misguided families use their ovens for heat. Blue Eyes Blind turn Middle Eastward, denouncing chemical warfare, while smoke screening tear gas poppers in eternal despair, flooding the lands here in the West inorganically. I've seen them, while a moat called Anacostia surrounds the White House kingdom. Hitler's fabricated gas chambers continue to thrive. Heroin, crack, PCP, ecstasy, genocide, mixed methadone and Similac in bottles fed to the chosen, while the napalm in our brains create consistent explosions. Black men play laser tag with hollow points for fun, smoking dippers, shooting capers, pulling police, then run. Reckless living, reckless driving, vehicular homicide. Streets unsafe for strolling, so it's inside that we hide. Teenage girls sell cheap their innocence like moms they despise. HIV, the Southeast Phantom, people dropping like flies. Subliminal supremacy manifests delusional dreams. Lottery tickets like paychecks to chase rainbows unseen. Guns at our disposal protect property we'll never own. Kill ourselves over symbols of freedom like iPods and cell phones. Make my people believe the gate is open, yet the key is made of glass. Cut down trees and breed depression, build dirt fields, no green as glass. Keep us token, smoking, choking, gloating, fawning for white meat. When pressed by darkened fingers, give them pause to press delete. And those castle craven emperors raise their flags, declare we beat. Democracy, some call it murder. Peace. Thank you.
Okay. Neville Adams,
Yes.
poet, educator, activist, one who is, for those that don't know about the youth poetry poet laureate program in Prince George's County, Neville Adams is one of 2 directors for that program. Neville, could you, I know we have a few minutes, just a minute or 2, could you speak about the Prince George's County Youth Poet Laureate program that you have worked with since its inception?
Yeah, so we started it, the program, I think around 6 years ago. And every year, I think around September, we pull out the call for Youth Poet Laureate professional students who are interested in competing for the program. And we get kids, they send in, I think like 5 or 6 different poems. They have to send in a video as well. Then they meet our rigorous judges like Sister Joy, the poet laureate. And they go through a judging process. Then we break it down into 13 of the highest people. And they go through more process. And then on the night of the coronation of the new Youth Poet Laureate, they do one last performance, and then those pieces, the points are added up, and we select the Youth Poet Laureate, and then the 12 finalists are considered Youth Poet Laureate ambassadors, so they'll be the official youth poets for whatever city that they're living in. So it's a really good program. They become the official youth poet of Prince George's County. They, go do a lot of functions, do a lot of workshops. And now we just added a piece where they're actually going to get paid too. So I know they're gonna love that. So it's like $15 an hour. I was like, for doing what you love too. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
That's great.
yeah. So we just keep growing and just keep, giving our youth a voice.
Absolutely. And this year's youth poet laureate is Marissa Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
And Marissa is phenomenal, as have been each of the past 5 youth poet laureates who have served Prince George's County and now have gone on to do great things. So Neville, just on behalf of Prince George's County and the Prince George's Arts and Humanities Council, thank you for the work that you do. We're honored to have you with us today as our featured poet and workshop facilitator. I hope you have put your contact information in the chat so that our guests can be in touch with you and know what's happening with you and with the Youth Poet Laureate program as well. So again, for those that want to stay in touch, please click the 3 ellipses in the bottom, those 3 dots, so that you can save the chat and be in touch. Wait for Neville to post his contact information before you do.